Good morning. Thank you for coming. With me today is the chairman of the board, Jack Evans. He'll be up with me shortly after I finish my presentation. As you all know, for a number of years, if not decades, we've been dealing with a number of maintenance and safety-related issues, and in my estimation, we need to do something different and dramatically different. And as most of you may know, it boils down to track access and all the demands that we have to get out there. On this slide, what you see is basically the amount of operating hours that we have, which is 85% of the time of a week. And when you look at what that works out to be in production time, it gives us about 10% of a normal 7 days to get out there and do work. When you think of just the normal maintenance that we have to do, and then you add on some of the things that we've had to do and should be doing either from FTA or NTSB or congressional mandates, clearly we cannot keep up with the demands that we need to do to get the system both safe and reliable that we all deserve. So that's the logic of this plan. So let me just give you a quick overview, and then I'll get into some of the more detail. This is a massive undertaking. There's no doubt about it. Internally, we've been talking about it. It's like a military operation. There's a lot of moving parts that have to work together very well. The highlights are, we're calling it SafeTrack. If you could go back, if you don't mind, Dan. But basically, we need to do things differently in terms of weekdays, in terms of early closures at 8 p.m. in certain locations when we need to do the work. We need to do different things on weekends. I'm recommending that we shut down the system at midnight all 7 days of the week, starting later in June, before we would do that, that we put a moratorium on any extended hours, either early in the morning or late into the evening. And then what we're doing is what we're calling safety surges. There are 15 locations, which I'll outline for you shortly, where we need to even put in more effort to get the work done, which will mean a longer duration of outages as we single track in some of those areas. The types of work elements that we'll be doing is, again, some of the things that you have all heard in different forms, but it's the tunnel lighting, it's the cabling, it's the signage, it's every part of the system. Let me just hit on the power cable issues, just so you know. On the power cable issue, by the end of this month, in the underground section, we will have all those replaced. That's the sleeves and the boots that we've been talking about. We will have the entire system done by the end of the summer. When we previously committed to that last year, it was to be by September of 17. So we've moved that up a year, and that's been something, again, that I've been working on and the team's been working on for a number of weeks. So with that, some of the surges. Let me talk about the surges. This will require continuous track outages for longer periods. It's primarily above ground where we will do a number of this work. The issue here is we have to redo a number of the ties, and to redo the ties is not like replacing fasteners. You have heavy equipment out there, and what it takes to do that is very extensive. So that is what drives it. What that does, though, is it frees up capability to put more focus on some of the underground issues. These surge areas we cannot do in the process we've been following. We could not do that type of work in early outs and on weekends, and by default, what that means is we will have impact on rush hour service. So it will impact many riders. We will provide shuttle buses if we actually close down stations to provide bus bridges, but otherwise it's reduced service, and we want to get the word out, and we will need the help of lots of people in the region to basically address this issue, whether it's through coordination with the various DOTs, whether it's working with HR departments in both businesses and government, and obviously communication throughout the entire process. Just to give you a sense of what we're doing here is we're maximizing productivity. So for instance, if we go into a single tracking for 21 days straight, rather than opening and closing twice a day, where we in effect lose 3 hours every time we do that of productive work, we would take what would have taken 10 weekends and we can complete it in 21 days. I'm going to show you a few examples of the type of work we'll be doing. This is the major cross tie replacement I mentioned, and you can see the type of equipment that is required to do that work. Track renewal is literally taking out track and replacing it with new track, cutting it out, re-putting it in, and re-welding it. This is cable replacement, the amount of effort it takes to do that. Joint elimination. One of the things that we have is we have a number of joints in the underground section that have very short power cables. We can eliminate a lot of those, which reduce the risk of those shorting out. Fastener replacement, very manual, as you can see the type of work that is required to do that. At the end of this program next year, what we will do is obviously we'll replace all the boots and seals, which I already spoke about. We will replace 12,000 insulators. We will eliminate all third rail expansion joints, or just about all the third rail expansion joints that we can in the underground system. We will eliminate temporary gauge bars. Gauge bars are basically bars that hold the track within the standards. That is a short-term Band-Aid that you should do for very short periods. Over time, we have been using that as a crutch, and not more than a Band-Aid, and we have to eliminate that. We will be replacing 48,000 wooden ties. To give you a sense, we should be on a pace to do 11,000 per year. So we've got to catch up and then move forward and do 11,000 per year after that. The fasteners, same thing. We're going to replace 36,000 fasteners. We should be on an annual cycle of doing roughly 18,000. So we've got to catch up to do that. We will be clearing 87,000 linear feet of drains. A lot of our issues related to moisture. We have a drainage system out there that basically was designed to deal with that issue, but we have to maintain it, and we have to get in there and get that back again to a state of good repair so that it does what its job is. We will also do an extensive leak mitigation. Mitigation, I think, is the key word here, because we are in tunnels, we're under the water table, there will be leakage, but you have to stay on top of it and constantly repair it. So that's what we'll be doing in the next year. What this graph shows is basically this is a year look ahead. This is the program, the surge program, the 15 locations, basically showing where it gets impacted from a customer's perspective. So basically, if I get on at NOMA, when is my ride impacted? So that's what this chart will show our customers so that they can start to plan ahead. So just by example, what I'm saying here is there's a snowstorm coming. It's coming from August 7th through August 12th in this location. You need to start to think about it. The goal here was not to eliminate any service, because basically we have customers that do not have an option. So we wanted to maintain service at a minimum. So it's in these surge locations, there will be either single tracking, and if we have to shut down a station, then basically we will have bus bridges around it so people can still make their trip by transit. Clearly the level of service will go down during these surge periods. Let me just give you some examples. I'll give you 3 examples of them, and we will give you the entire list after the meeting, I believe. So one, and this happens to be the first one, which we're recommending to start June 4th through 19th. It's 15 days. It will be continuous single tracking between Franconia and Springfield and Van Dorn Street. This impacts roughly 18,000 weekday trips. The trains will move at a peak at a headway of 24 minutes in one portion and 12 minutes in another. In general, they're running at 6 minutes now. So you can obviously understand the impact. What we're showing in this graphic literally is where you see the red is obviously where there's significant drop in service. Where you don't see anything, then there is no drop in terms of the amount of service that's being provided out there. This is another example. This is the red line between NOMA and Fort Totten. This should look familiar to everyone. This is what we just went through last weekend with the CSX derailment. So this is that same operation where you're shutting down a portion of the system and having to bus bridge around it. This is probably the most serious impact in terms of customers being served at 108,000 passengers weekday trips in this section. So we will reduce the headways, and you can see those. We've outlined what those will be. A third example is between, on the Orange and Silver, between East Falls Church and Boston. Again, a major corridor with 73,000 work trips. Basically, we will basically be running trains every 18 minutes from Vienna to Boston, and the Silver Line every 18 minutes. Again, we can provide extra service where we can, but this is the type of impact we will be having. One other initiative that we're doing is what we're calling early outs. Again, shutting down or going to single tracking at 8 p.m. versus 10 or at midnight, or closing down at midnight. And basically, we will do this on the red line from January 2nd to March 7th, 2017, with the one exception obviously being the inaugural, and we will keep the service at both tracks open the entire time. This will run from Friendship Heights to Medical Center, and those trains will be running every 15 to 20 minutes during that period. In terms of mitigation, most of the safety surges we have a fleet of 40 to 50 buses that we will apply as we move throughout the system in dealing with these issues. We will be providing 8-car trains where we can. As you all may know, there's a power issue with that. You just can't run all 8-car trains, but we will balance that and maximize 8-car trains where we can. We will provide additional staff out as we move throughout the system in these areas to put people in front of people. We are requesting jurisdictions' input on the safety surges, particularly their help, whether it's traffic control, parking restrictions, bus support, HOV restrictions, whatever they can do to help us, whether it's just a variable message sign over a highway that says, guess what, in 2 weeks, this is what's coming to you, and be sure that you're aware that there's single tracking coming to the station near you. We will do a robust outreach effort, which this is the kickoff of that. We are requesting from OPM and the business community, and I've already spoken to the business community through particularly the Washington Board of Trade to work with their members so they understand what's coming and they can have some flexibility with their workers. And we will strategically position trains because things do occur in a normal day. So for instance, if we have someone get sick on a train or a medical issue, we have to offload a train. We want to make sure that we have other trains available nearby that can deal with that and the personnel to deal with it as quickly as possible. So next steps, obviously we want to coordinate with all the local jurisdictions and all the stakeholders, the business community, the federal government. The final version for the customers, we want it ready by May 16th. So basically we're giving 10 days to work with different people, understand some of their issues, and get it out there in final form. We're looking to start this June 4th, as I've mentioned. One thing that I think is different, or one thing that I'm doing is I will be having independent verification of the work that's being done, that it's being done correctly and is recorded that way. So I'll be doing that with my own internal forces, and obviously FTA has been very engaged in all of our inspections. So that will be ongoing. The other part which I will be doing is we then will start the ongoing maintenance schedule, and then we will have an independent group in my shop, that report directly to me, that will be verifying that we are doing that periodic maintenance as determined or as needed, and to verify that that work is being done, so we don't slip back into some of the conditions we've been in. The one thing I do want to make clear, this system will never be new again. This is not, this is the effort to get us to a stage where we are doing constant maintenance. It is not, there's lots of other issues I have to deal with. I understand, for instance, lighting in stations and all kinds of other issues. Those are other initiatives that I will be doing, but this is focused on the safety and reliability. And I also just want to, I do want to end before I open up to any questions or open it to the chairman to make any comments. We are starting today, particularly with the interaction I've been having with both the Secretary of USDOT and FTA. There are issues that need to be addressed immediately. So we did it last night, and we will continue to do that. One of the things that we're doing, we will be rolling out, in effect, we're going to start 8 a.m. Closings or single tracking in a number of areas where I've got to get in and do significant work, safety-related work particularly, and I will be doing that now, not waiting until May 16th or June 4th, just so everyone understands. This is the year. This is the moving the 3 years to 1 year. But that does not mean I don't have issues that I've got to jump on right now, and I'm jumping on those right now. So just so you understand that. So with that, I'll turn it over to the chairman.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. And first, I want to take this opportunity to thank Paul for putting forward a very aggressive plan to address many of the safety and reliability issues we are experiencing here at Metro. Paul had an opportunity a half hour ago, 10:30, to address the board, and I'm pleased to say that the board is behind Paul and this plan and implementing it. On behalf of myself, I want to say this. We cannot continue as we are. We all know that. The incident last night, the 4 incidences on the red line in 10 days, and on and on and on. We have tried to prepare the public over the last several months that we will be coming forward, and we have, with a very aggressive plan to try and fix Metro. And Paul's plan does just that. We are asking all of the stakeholders in Metro, the elected officials, the appointed officials, the business community, and most importantly, our riders, our customers, to bear with us. This is going to be inconvenient. It's going to be more inconvenient than it is now. There will be a lot of struggling to get this right. We are going to work with the jurisdictions, the District, Maryland, and Virginia, to try and minimize the inconvenience, but knowing it is going to be there. So we are asking everyone to stick with us, because as you've heard me say many times, we are all Metro. This is all our system. And this is the unique opportunity that we now have to bring our system back to where it is reliable and safe and reliable, the 2 words we hear all the time. And so we look forward to working with everybody as we go forward, implementing this plan and making Metro, again, the world-class system we know it can be. So we're excited about this, but we know there are enormous challenges ahead. And so, again, I want to thank our General Manager, Paul Wiedefeld, for coming forward with an aggressive plan, something that is going to really move forward in trying to get Metro back to where it should be.